1. We're diving into a classic beauty that's up for grabs on Craigslist. Get ready to feast your eyes on this 1979 Lincoln Town Car, currently listed at $9,500. Now, let's get one thing straight. The seller claims this ride is in excellent condition, and from what they've shared, it seems to check out. With just 97,221 miles on the odometer, this town car has been cherished by only 3 owners over its lifetime. That's a pretty impressive feat for a vehicle that's over 4 decades old. The seller mentions that the original paint and leather interior are in excellent shape, which is a testament to how well this car has been maintained. Plus, they've thrown in many new parts to keep this classic running smoothly. Speaking of running, the seller assures us that this town car is in good working order with a current license and registration. So, you won't have to worry about any pesky paperwork or legal issues when you take this beauty home. Under the hood, you'll find a gas-powered engine, and the transmission is automatic, making it a breeze to drive. The exterior boasts a sleek gray paint job that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Now, I want to be completely honest with you. While the seller's description paints a pretty picture, it's always a good idea to see the car in person and have a trusted mechanic give it a once-over before making a final decision. But if everything checks out, this 1979 Lincoln Town Car could be the classic ride you've been dreaming of. So if you're in or around Stephenville, TX, why not take a closer look at this stunning sedan? Who knows? You might just drive off into the sunset with a piece of American automotive history. 2. We've got a real treat for you. A 1957 Dodge Coronet that's looking for a new home. This classic beauty is currently up for grabs on Craigslist with an asking price of $13,000. Now let's dive into the details that the seller has provided. First off, this Coronet is rocking a flathead engine, which is a testament to its vintage charm. But don't let its age fool you. The seller has made some upgrades to keep this ride running smoothly, including a new brake booster for added safety. One of the coolest features of this 57 Dodge is the push-button transmission. It's a unique quirk that sets it apart from other classic cars and adds to its overall appeal. The seller hasn't mentioned anything about the condition of the body or interior, so it's hard to say whether this Coronet is in pristine shape or if it needs a little TLC. As with any classic car purchase, it's always a good idea to inspect the vehicle in person and ask the seller for more details about its history and current state. Now here's the thing. The seller has made it clear that they're not interested in dealing with flippers. They want this Coronet to go to someone who will appreciate it for what it is and give it the love and attention it deserves. So, if you're a true enthusiast looking for a classic ride to cherish, this might be the perfect opportunity for you. Of course, it's important to keep in mind that buying a classic car is a big commitment. You'll want to factor in the cost of maintenance, repairs, and storage to make sure you're ready to take on this responsibility. All in all, if you're in the market for a vintage ride with a lot of character, this 1957 Dodge Coronet is definitely worth checking out. Just be prepared to give it the care and respect it deserves, and you'll have a classic car that will turn heads and spark conversations wherever you go. 3. We've got a real blast from the past. A 1979 Cutlass Supreme that's looking for a new owner to give it the love and care it deserves. This classic ride is currently up for grabs on Craigslist with an asking price of $7,200. Now let's dive into the details that the seller has provided. First off, it's important to note that this Cutlass Supreme has been a part of the family for decades. It was originally purchased new at Lamb Chevrolet in Prescott and has remained in the area its entire life. The car was passed down from the original owner to his daughter, who is now looking to find it a new home. The seller mentions that the car is in fair condition, which is to be expected for a vehicle of this age. There is some surface rust visible in one of the pictures, but the seller assures us that since the car has been in Prescott its whole life, it is definitely not a rust bucket. Under the hood, you'll find an Oldsmobile 307 V8 engine, which was a replacement for the original 260 V8. The transmission has also been replaced with a rebuilt Turbo 350. The seller has tons of receipts that come with the car, and many of the parts have lifetime warranties, which is a great bonus. The interior of the car is shown in the pictures, and it looks to be in decent shape considering its age. The car has a tilt wheel and cruise control, although the seller is unsure if the cruise control still works. The air conditioning is intact but hasn't worked for years, and the seller suggests that the compressor and lines may need to be replaced. The seller notes that there is a little slop in the steering, but nothing too scary. They have driven the car recently and report that the engine runs well, with no knocking, weird noises, or smoke. Plus, the previous owner was not a smoker, so you don't have to worry about any lingering odors. Now, here's the thing. The seller is upfront about the fact that the odometer has rolled over, so the true mileage of the car is unknown. However, they have provided a lot of information about the car's history and maintenance, which should give potential buyers a good idea of its overall condition. If you're interested in this classic Cutlass Supreme, the seller asks that you contact them via text or phone call. They are willing to negotiate on the price, but only in person, and they ask that you please refrain from making any lowball offers. Overall, if you're looking for a vintage ride with a lot of character and history, this 1979 Cutlass Supreme could be a great option. Just be prepared to put in a little work to get it back to its former glory, and you'll have a classic car that will turn heads and spark conversations wherever you go. 4. We've got a real treat for you, a 1966 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu 4-door sedan that's been lovingly cared for by its original owners. This beauty is up for grabs on Craigslist for just $6,900. Now, I've got to be straight with you. This Chevelle isn't in perfect condition. The interior has seen better days, thanks to the sun's relentless rays, and there's some rust lurking in the usual spots like the trunk floor and behind the wheel wells. But hey, that's just part of the charm of owning a classic car, right? Despite its flaws, this Chevelle has a lot going for it. The 283 engine has been freshly rebuilt and paired with a Powerglide automatic transmission, ensuring smooth and reliable performance. Plus, with an Edelbrock 4BBL carbon intake, you'll have plenty of power at your disposal. The car also boasts power steering, manual brakes, and the original exhaust system. One of the coolest features of this Chevelle is the 2 sets of original aluminum keys that unlock the doors, trunk, and ignition. It's like having a piece of history right in your hands. And while the Chevelle emblem on the trunk lid is missing, all the other trim is present and accounted for. Now let's talk about the paint. The seller admits that the current paint job is a bit of a stopgap measure. It's rattle can, but at least it's 2 colors instead of 5. If you're feeling ambitious, this Chevelle is a blank canvas waiting for someone to give it a proper bodywork and paint job. But even as is, this car is sure to turn heads and get plenty of thumbs up wherever you go. Under the hood, you'll find a bunch of new components, including the battery, water pump, fuel pump, hoses, and more. The car also rides on a set of 15 rally wheels with beauty rings and nearly new tires, giving it a classic look that's sure to impress. So, what do you say? Are you ready to take on the challenge of owning a piece of American automotive history? With a little TLC, this 1966 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu could be the pride and joy of your garage. And at just $6,900, it's a steal compared to some of the other classic cars out there. 5. We've got a 1984 Chevrolet Corvette that's looking for a new home. This classic sports car is being sold on Craigslist for just $5,000. But before you get too excited, let me give you the lowdown on its condition. First off, I want to be completely honest with you. This Corvette isn't in perfect shape. In fact, it's currently not even operable. The seller mentions that it was up and running a few years ago, but since then, it's been sitting in a storage unit collecting dust. Now, let's talk about what this Corvette needs to get back on the road. The most obvious issue is the tires. They're going to need to be replaced, The fuel assembly also needs to be put back together, which could be a bit of a project for someone with mechanical know-how. And, as with any car that's been sitting for a while, it might need a new battery to get it started. But here's the thing. If you're a Corvette enthusiast with a little bit of time and elbow grease, this could be the perfect project car for you. The seller is upfront about the fact that they don't have the time to work on it anymore, which means that you could score a great deal on a classic sports car that just needs a little bit of love. And let's not forget about the specs on this Corvette. It's got a powerful 8-cylinder engine and rear-wheel drive, which means that when it's up and running, it's going to be a blast to drive. The odometer shows just 53,000 miles, which is relatively low for a car of this age. And with its sleek black paint job and classic Corvette styling, it's sure to turn heads wherever it goes. Now, I know that some of you might be thinking, why would I buy a car that doesn't even run? And that's a fair question. But here's the thing. If you're someone who loves a challenge and has a passion for classic cars, this could be the perfect opportunity to get your hands on a piece of American automotive history at a fraction of the cost. Plus, think about the satisfaction you'll feel when you finally get this Corvette up and running again. You'll be able to cruise down the highway with the wind in your hair, knowing that you brought a classic car back to life with your own two hands. So, what do you say? Are you up for the challenge? If so, don't hesitate to reach out to the seller and make an offer. Who knows? With a little bit of work and a lot of love, you could be the proud owner of a 1984 Chevrolet Corvette that's the envy of every car enthusiast in town. 6. We've got a real treat for you. A 1966 Chevrolet El Camino that's been lovingly restored and is now up for grabs on Craigslist for just $14,500. First things first, let's talk about the heart of this beast, the engine. Under the hood, you'll find an original 327 cubic inch V8 that's been built to impress. We're talking an Iskai cam, roller rockers, 68 327 power pack heads, an Edelbrock intake, and a Holley carburetor. And with an HEI distributor, headers, and dual exhaust, this thing is ready to roar. But the upgrades don't stop there. This El Camino has been fitted with a 700 R4 transmission and a true posy rear end, which means it's got the guts to match its growl. And with power steering and power brakes, it's a breeze to drive, even without air conditioning. Now, let's talk about the look of this beauty. The seller rates it an impressive 8 out of 10, and it's easy to see why. The yellow paint is sure to turn heads wherever you go, and the black interior is in great shape. Plus, with all the chrome accents in place, this El Camino has a classic look that never goes out of style. But here's the really cool part. This El Camino comes with a fiberglass tonneau cover, which means you can use it as a practical pickup truck or a stylish cruiser, depending on your mood. And with a solid suspension and straight steering, it rides like a dream. Now I know what you might be thinking. With 140,000 miles on the odometer, is this thing really worth the asking price? Well, here's the thing. The seller is upfront about the fact that the odometer is broken, so the actual mileage is unknown. But given the quality of the restoration and the obvious love and care that's gone into this car, I think it's safe to say that it's got plenty of life left in it. So, if you're looking for a classic ride that's got the perfect blend of style and substance, look no further than this 1966 Chevrolet El Camino. With its powerful engine, smooth ride, and head-turning good looks, it's sure to be the pride and joy of any car enthusiast's collection. 7. We've got a 1972 Ford Mustang up for grabs on Craigslist, and let me tell you, this one's got potential written all over it. The seller is asking $6,000 or best offer. But before you start reaching for your wallet, let's take a closer look at what we're dealing with here. First off, I want to be straight with you. This Mustang isn't in perfect condition. The seller rates it as fair, which is a polite way of saying it needs some work. The body and paint are going to need some attention, so if you're looking for a show car, this might not be the one for you. But here's where things get interesting. Under the hood, you'll find a rebuilt 302 cubic inch V8 engine that's just begging to be let loose. And with a rebuilt C4 automatic transmission, you'll be able to put that power to the pavement with ease. Now, the seller does mention that everything is there, but it just needs to be connected. So, if you're handy with a wrench and don't mind getting your hands dirty, this could be the perfect project car for you. Moving on to the interior, the seller describes it as being in okay condition. Now, okay can mean a lot of things, so you'll definitely want to take a closer look before making any decisions. But hey, at least the tags are up to date, so you won't have to worry about that particular headache. Now, I know what you might be thinking. With an odometer that's broken, how do you know how many miles are on this thing? And that's a fair question. Unfortunately, the seller doesn't provide that information, so it's going to be a bit of a mystery. But if you're willing to take a gamble on a classic Mustang with a rebuilt engine and transmission, this could be the one for you. So, what do you say? Are you ready to take on the challenge of bringing this 1972 Ford Mustang back to its former glory? With a little bit of elbow grease and some TLC, you could have a real head turner on your hands. 8. We've got a real gem for you. A 1964 Ford Galaxie 500 that's sure to turn heads wherever it goes. This beauty is up for grabs on Craigslist for just $10,000 or best offer, and let me tell you, it's worth every penny. First things first, let's talk about the rarity of this particular Galaxie. It's a two-door sedan, which means it's got a post between the front and rear windows. That might not sound like a big deal, but trust me, it's a rare configuration that you don't see very often. And in the world of classic cars, rarity equals value. But this Galaxie isn't just rare, it's also in fantastic condition. The seller describes it as having no rust, which is a huge plus for any classic car. And with a clean title, you can be sure that this baby is ready to hit the road. Under the hood, you'll find a mildly built 289 cubic inch V8 engine that's just begging to be let loose. And with a T10 4-speed manual transmission, you'll be able to take full control of all that power. Plus, with a factory 9 rear end, this Galaxie is built to handle whatever you throw at it. Now, let's talk about the look of this thing. The red paint is sure to turn heads wherever you go, and with a few spare parts included in the sale, including an extra grille, front fender, and flat steel hood, you'll be able to keep it looking its best for years to come. But here's the really cool part. The odometer on this Galaxie is broken, which means there's no telling how many miles are actually on it. Now, some folks might see that as a downside, but I see it as an opportunity. With a car this cool, who cares about the mileage? It's all about the experience of driving a classic piece of American muscle. So, if you're looking for a rare and beautiful classic car that's built to perform, look no further than this 1964 Ford Galaxie 500. And at just $10,000 or best offer, it's a steal compared to some of the other classic cars out there. 9. Have I got a treat for you today? A stunning 1972 Ford LTD convertible that's sure to make your heart skip a beat. This beauty is up for sale on Craigslist, and the seller is asking $12,000 for it. But before you start reaching for your wallet, let's take a closer look at what we've got here. First off, can we just take a moment to appreciate the sheer coolness of this car? I mean, it's a convertible. There's nothing quite like cruising down the highway with the wind in your hair and the sun on your face, and this LTD is the perfect ride for just that. Now, let's talk about the condition of this classic. The seller describes it as being in good condition, which is always a positive sign. However, it's worth noting that the factory rims and tires were stolen at some point, so the car currently sits on a set of 22 rims. While they might not be everyone's cup of tea, you've got to admit that they give this LTD a unique look. Moving on to the interior, you'll be pleased to know that it's been decked out in leather. There's just something about the smell and feel of leather seats that screams luxury, and this LTD has got it in spades. Plus, the seller mentions that the car has been wired for subs, So if you're an audiophile, you'll be able to crank up your favorite tunes while you cruise. Under the hood, the seller doesn't provide too many details, but they do mention that the exhaust has been done. That's always a good sign, as it means the car has been well maintained and cared for. Now, let's talk about the mileage. The odometer reads 100,000 miles, which might seem like a lot for a classic car. However, it's important to remember that this is a 1972 model, so it's had plenty of time to rack up those miles. And if it's been well maintained over the years, there's no reason why it can't keep on running for many more to come. Finally, let's talk about the price. At $12,000, this LTD isn't exactly a bargain basement find. However, when you consider the rarity and coolness factor of a classic convertible like this, it's actually a pretty fair price. Plus, with a clean title, you can be sure that you're getting a car that's free and clear of any legal issues. So, what do you say? Are you ready to make this 1972 Ford LTD convertible your own? If so, head on over to Craigslist and check out the listing for yourself. And if you do end up taking this beauty home, be sure to send us some pictures of you cruising with the top down. F10. We've got a real treat for you, a 1971 Dodge Dart that's just begging for a new owner to give it some love. This classic beauty is up for sale on Craigslist for just $7,500. But before you start counting your pennies, let's take a closer look at what we're dealing with here. First things first, I want to be completely honest with you. This Dart is a project car. The seller makes that clear right off the bat, so if you're looking for a turnkey daily driver, this might not be the ride for you. However, if you're the type of person who loves a good project and isn't afraid to get your hands dirty, keep reading. The good news is that this Dart is running and driving under its own power. The seller notes that the engine is solid and runs great, which is a huge plus for any project car. However, they also mention that the car has been off the road for several years and needs some minor stuff to become a daily driver. So, if you're planning on making this your primary mode of transportation, be prepared to put in some work. Now, let's talk about the body. The seller says it's straight, but they also point out that there are some areas of bubble, rust, and other usual suspects. Take a close look at the photos and decide for yourself if the body is something you're willing to tackle. Remember, a little rust isn't necessarily a deal breaker, but it's important to know what you're getting into before you pull the trigger. One thing to keep in mind is that this Dart isn't something you can just hop in and drive 100 miles home. The seller is clear about that. However, if you've got a trailer ready to go, you should have no problem getting this baby home. And if you don't have access to a trailer, the seller says they can help out in that area. Just be sure to have a plan in place before you make the trip. Finally, let's talk about the price. The seller is firm on the $7,500 asking price. So if you're looking to haggle, you might be out of luck. However, considering the potential of this classic Mopar and the fact that it comes with a clean California title, I think the price is pretty fair. 11, we've got a real gem for you, a 1964 Chrysler New Yorker that's sure to turn heads wherever it goes. This beauty is up for sale on Craigslist for just $10,500, and let me tell you, it's worth every penny. First off, can we just take a moment to appreciate the history of this car? It's a one-family ownership vehicle that spent its first 90,000 miles in Colorado, away from the dreaded salt that can wreak havoc on classic cars. Since the late 90s, it's been lovingly cared for by the second generation of owners in southeastern Wisconsin, where it's been stored indoors and rarely driven. But don't let the low mileage fool you. This New Yorker is ready to hit the road. The seller just put on brand new tires with less than 500 miles on them, so you can feel confident cruising down the highway at 70 mph. The brakes work great, and the car runs nice and cool, even on long trips. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 413 V8 engine that's paired with a push-button automatic transmission. While the seller notes that the carburetor could use some fine-tuning for around-town driving, this baby purrs like a kitten on the open road. Inside, the interior is all original and has never seen a single rodent, which is a huge plus in my book. The AM radio works, and all the power options function except for the right front window and the dash clock. The AC would need servicing, but that's to be expected in a car of this age. Now, I know some of you might be wondering about the condition of the body. The seller is upfront about the fact that there have been some small paint corrections and fixes over the years, but they also note that there's no rust-through anywhere. The original hubcaps are included, as are the dog dish beauty rings, if you prefer a more understated look. One thing I really appreciate about this listing is the seller's willingness to assist with delivery. They're happy to negotiate trailer or driven delivery to your address, which is a huge plus if you're not local to the area. Overall, this 1964 Chrysler New Yorker is a fantastic example of a well-maintained classic car. It's got a great history, a powerful engine, and a comfortable interior that's perfect for cruising. And at just $10,500, it's a steal compared to some of the other classic cars out there. 12. We've got a real treat for you, a 1975 Ford Maverick that's been given a serious upgrade. This bad boy is up for sale on Craigslist for $15,000, and let me tell you, it's worth every penny. First things first, let's talk about what makes this Maverick so special. Under the hood, you'll find a 302 engine that's been fitted with an injection system. That means this car is ready to run and run fast. But don't worry, it's pre-smog, so you won't have to deal with any pesky emissions tests. But the upgrades don't stop there. This Maverick has a completely rebuilt C4 transmission, which means you'll be able to shift gears smoothly and easily. And with four-wheel disc brakes, you'll have plenty of stopping power when you need it. Now, let's talk about the rear end. This Maverick has been fitted with an Explorer differential of 8.8 and 3.73 posi. That means you'll have plenty of traction and power when you need it, whether you're cruising down the highway or tearing up the track. But the upgrades don't stop there. The front suspension has been fitted with coilovers, which means you'll have a smooth and comfortable ride, even on rough roads. And with new tires, you'll have plenty of grip and traction, no matter where you go. Now, I know what you might be thinking. With all these upgrades, this Maverick must be a handful to drive. But fear not, my friends. The seller assures us that this car works and drives very well, so you can enjoy all that power and performance without any hassle. Of course, with 125,000 miles on the odometer, this Maverick has seen some action over the years, but the rebuilt title and the obvious care and attention that's gone into the upgrades tell me that this car has been well loved and well maintained. As for the price, the seller is asking $15,000, but they do note that it's negotiable. Considering all the upgrades and the obvious passion that's gone into this car, I think that's a fair price. But hey, if you're feeling lucky, why not make an offer and see what happens? Overall, this 1975 Ford Maverick is a true gem. It's got all the power and performance you could want, wrapped up in a classic package that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And with a brown paint job that's just begging for a sunny day and an open road, this car is ready for anything. 13. We're taking a closer look at a classic beauty, the 1959 Edsel Ranger. This particular example is currently up for grabs on Craigslist, and it's definitely worth checking out. First off, let's talk about the price. At $8,950, it's not the cheapest classic car out there, but considering the condition and the rarity of the Edsel Ranger, it's a pretty fair deal. The seller describes the car as being in excellent condition, and from what we can see in the photos, it looks like they're telling the truth. Under the hood, you'll find a reliable Ford 232 six-cylinder engine, which is paired with a manual transmission. The car is rear-wheel drive, so you can expect a classic driving experience. The odometer shows 100,000 miles, which is pretty reasonable for a car of this age. One of the standout features of this Edsel Ranger is its color combination. The light aqua and white exterior is complemented by a buff interior trim, all of which are the original colors. It's a really unique and eye-catching look that's sure to turn heads at any car show or cruise night. The seller has also made some recent upgrades to the car, including a new shaded windshield and gasket, a new battery, a new turn signal switch, new wheel cylinders and master cylinder, and new door glasses and channel felt. These improvements show that the owner has been taking good care of the car and wants to make sure it's in top condition for the next owner. Overall, this 1959 Edsel Ranger seems like a great opportunity for any classic car enthusiast. It's a rare find in excellent condition, with a unique color scheme and some recent upgrades. If you're in the market for a vintage ride that's sure to stand out from the crowd, this might just be the one for you. 14. We've got a real treat for you. A 1965 Cadillac DeVille convertible that's up for sale on Craigslist. This classic beauty is sure to turn heads wherever it goes, and it could be yours for just $14,000. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That's a lot of money for an old car. But trust me, this isn't just any old car. The 1965 Cadillac DeVille is a true icon of American automotive history, and this particular example is in excellent condition. According to the seller, this DeVille runs great and is in running and driving condition. It's got an automatic transmission and has clocked in at 116,000 miles over its lifetime. While that might seem like a lot, it's actually pretty low for a car that's over 50 years old. One of the standout features of this DeVille is its convertible top, which the seller says works great. There's nothing quite like cruising down the road on a sunny day with the top down, and this car is sure to provide that classic open-air experience. The car is currently registered and has a clean title, which is always a good sign when you're buying a classic car. You don't want to get stuck with a vehicle that has a shady past or legal issues. Aesthetically, this DeVille is a real stunner. It's got a classic white paint job that looks to be in great condition based on the photos provided by the seller. The chrome trim and bumpers are also shining brightly, which is a testament to the care that this car has received over the years. Inside, you'll find a spacious and luxurious interior that's typical of Cadillacs from this era. The seats look to be in good condition, and there's plenty of room for you and your passengers to stretch out and enjoy the ride. Overall, this 1965 Cadillac DeVille convertible seems like a fantastic opportunity for anyone who's in the market for a classic American luxury car. It's got a great look, a powerful engine, and a convertible top that's perfect for summer cruising. If you're interested, be sure to give the seller a call and arrange a time to check it out in person. Who knows? You might just drive home in your new favorite car. 15. We've got a real gem for you. A 1973 Ford Mustang that's currently up for sale on Craigslist. This classic muscle car is sure to get your heart racing, and it could be yours for just $13,500. First off, let's talk about the condition of this Mustang. According to the seller, it's in excellent shape, both inside and out. The paint is described as excellent, which is impressive for a car that's almost 50 years old. The interior is also said to be in great condition, which is a testament to the care that this car has received over the years. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 351 cubic inch engine that's sure to provide plenty of thrills on the open road. This Mustang is a rear-wheel drive car, which is typical of muscle cars from this era. It's also got an automatic transmission, which makes it easy to drive and perfect for cruising. One of the most impressive things about this Mustang is its low mileage. It's only got 67,500 miles on the odometer, which is incredibly low for a car of this age. That means that this Mustang has been well preserved and hasn't been driven into the ground like some other classic cars. Aesthetically, this Mustang is a real beauty. It's got a classic green paint job that looks to be in great condition based on the photos provided by the seller. The chrome trim and bumpers are also shining brightly, which adds to the overall look of the car. Inside, you'll find a spacious and comfortable interior that's typical of Mustangs from this era. The seats look to be in good condition, and there's plenty of room for you and your passengers to stretch out and enjoy the ride. Perhaps the best thing about this Mustang is that it's all original. That means that it hasn't been modified or altered in any way, which is a real rarity for classic cars like this. It's a true piece of automotive history, and it's sure to be a hit at any car show or cruise night. Overall, this 1973 Ford Mustang seems like an excellent opportunity for anyone who's in the market for a classic muscle car. It's got a great look, a powerful engine, and low mileage that's sure to impress. If you're interested, be sure to give the seller a call and arrange a time to check it out in person. Who knows? You might just drive home in your dream car. 16. We've got a real treat for you. A 1979 Lincoln Town Car Continental that's currently up for sale on Craigslist. This luxurious sedan is in incredible condition, and it could be yours for just $11,990. First off, let's talk about the overall condition of this Lincoln. The seller describes it as being like new, which is pretty remarkable for a car that's over 40 years old. According to the seller, everything on this car works perfectly, from the AC and cruise control to the windows and power antenna. Even the Cartier clock is still ticking away. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful V8 engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. This Lincoln is a rear-wheel drive car, which is typical of luxury sedans from this era. The seller mentions that it starts, drives, and shifts perfectly with no problems, which is a testament to the care that this car has received over the years. One of the most impressive things about this Lincoln is its low mileage. It's only got 58,564 miles on the odometer, which is incredibly low for a car of this age. The seller mentions that they still drive it when they get a chance, which is a good sign that it's been well maintained and hasn't been sitting idle for too long. Aesthetically, this Lincoln is a real stunner. It's got a beautiful red paint job that's in great condition, with no paint bubbles or rust anywhere. The seller mentions that they recently paid $1,000 for hand polishing and ceramic coating, which has really brought out the shine in the paint. There are a few paint chips on the front of the car, but the seller is upfront about this and has provided pictures for potential buyers to see. Inside, you'll find a very clean interior with no stains or rips. The seats look to be in excellent condition, and there's plenty of room for passengers to stretch out and enjoy the ride. The seller mentions that they're convinced that everything on this Lincoln is original, which is a real rarity for a car of this age. Perhaps the best thing about this Lincoln is that it's ready for anything. The seller mentions that they wouldn't hesitate to drive it cross-country, which speaks to the reliability and durability of this classic car. It's a true piece of automotive history, and it's sure to turn heads wherever it goes. Overall, this 1979 Lincoln Town Car Continental seems like an excellent opportunity for anyone who's in the market for a classic luxury sedan. It's got a great look, a powerful engine, and incredibly low mileage that's sure to impress. If you're interested, be sure to give the seller a call and arrange a time to check it out in person. Who knows? You might just drive home in the car of your dreams. 17. We've got a 1985 Chevrolet Camaro Berlinetta that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic muscle car is in good condition and could be yours for just $5,000. First off, let's talk about the overall condition of this Camaro. The seller describes it as being in good condition, which is a positive sign. They mention that it runs and drives great, which is exactly what you want to hear when you're considering buying a classic car. Under the hood, you'll find a 5.0-liter V8 engine that's sure to provide plenty of power and performance. The seller doesn't mention whether it's the original engine or if it's been replaced, but either way, it's a strong engine that's well suited to this car. The odometer shows 161,000 miles, which is fairly high for a car of this age. However, the seller mentions that these are original miles, which suggests that the car has been well maintained over the years. It's also a good sign that the seller has recently replaced the tires and fuel pump, which shows that they've been taking care of the car and addressing any issues that have come up. Aesthetically, this Camaro has a classic white paint job that looks to be in good condition based on the photos provided. There's no mention of any rust or damage, which is always a plus when you're buying an older car. The interior of the car is not mentioned in the ad, so it's hard to say what condition it's in. However, given that the seller describes the overall condition of the car as good, it's likely that the interior is in decent shape as well. One potential downside of this Camaro is that it has an automatic transmission, which may not be as desirable to some enthusiasts as a manual transmission. However, this is largely a matter of personal preference, and an automatic transmission can still be a lot of fun to drive. The seller mentions that the car has a clean title, which is always a good thing. You don't want to buy a car with a salvage or rebuilt title, as this can indicate that the car has been in a serious accident or has other issues. Overall, this 1985 Chevrolet Camaro Berlinetta seems like a solid choice for anyone who's in the market for a classic muscle car. It's in good condition, has a strong engine, and has been well maintained over the years. While the high mileage may be a concern for some buyers, the fact that the seller has recently replaced the tires and fuel pump suggests that they've been taking good care of the car. 18. We've got a real treat for you. A 1973 Lincoln Continental Mark IV that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is priced at just $9,500, and let me tell you, it's a steal. First off, let's talk about the condition of this classic ride. The seller says it's in excellent shape, and I've got no reason to doubt them. With just 72,702 original miles on the odometer, this Lincoln has been well cared for over the years. It was even bought from the original owner, a lady who clearly knew how to keep her car in tip-top shape. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 460 Ci V8 engine that runs like a dream. It's been equipped with a rebuilt single 4-barrel carburetor, and back in the day, it was rated at 215 horsepower and 350 lb-ft of torque. That's more than enough power to get this big coupe moving down the road with ease. The transmission is also in great shape, with no issues to report. And speaking of smooth rides, this Lincoln has all the power features you could want, making it a joy to drive. Now, let's talk about the exterior. The silver paint job is brand new, done just 6 months ago, and it looks absolutely stunning. The only issue is with the hood, which needs a bit of adjustment to close properly. Apparently, some thieves made off with the battery and original hubcaps, and they left the hood a bit misaligned in the process. But hey, that's an easy fix. The body itself is straight as an arrow, with no accidents to report. And if you're worried about smog tests, don't be. This classic beauty doesn't need one. Inside, you'll find a luxurious interior that's all original, including a super cool sunroof. And to top it all off, the car comes with a clean title, so you know it's legit. Overall, this 1973 Lincoln Continental Mark IV is a fantastic find. It's got a great history, a powerful engine, and a stunning look that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. And at just $9,500, it's a bargain for any car enthusiast looking to add a classic to their collection. 19. We've got a real treat for you, a 1976 Cadillac DeVille that's up for sale on Craigslist. This beauty is priced at just $6,250, and let me tell you, it's a steal. First off, let's talk about the condition of this classic ride. The seller says it's in excellent shape, and I've got no reason to doubt them. With just 96,000 kilometers, that's under 60,000 miles for our American friends, on the odometer, this Cadillac has been well cared for over the years. In fact, it was owned by just one family all its life, until the current owner bought it a few years ago. This particular model is the upgraded d'Elegance package, and it's finished in a stunning Innsbruck metallic blue paint, with a matching blue vinyl roof. It's a real head-turner, that's for sure. Under the hood, you'll find a massive 500 cubic inch, that's 8.4 liters, V8 engine that's running strong and smooth. It's paired with a smooth shifting transmission, and together they provide tons of power to get this big sedan moving down the road with ease. The seller reports that everything works on this car, and it's had many items replaced over the last few years to keep it in top shape. The tires are also in great condition, so you won't have to worry about replacing them anytime soon. But perhaps the most impressive thing about this Cadillac is its lack of rust. The seller says there's no rust anywhere on the car, and no rust repairs have ever been made. That's a real rarity for a car of this age, and it's a testament to how well it's been cared for over the years. Inside, you'll find a spacious and luxurious interior that's perfect for cruising in comfort. And because this is a 1976 model, it's the last year that Cadillac offered a true hardtop sedan with no center pillar between the front and rear glass. That gives it a really unique and stylish look that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Overall, this 1976 Cadillac DeVille is a fantastic find. It's got a great history, a powerful engine, and a stunning look that's sure to impress. And at just $6,250 or best offer, it's a bargain for any car enthusiast looking to add a classic to their collection. 20. We've got a real gem for you. A 1969 Ford Galaxy 500 that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic beauty is priced at $14,000, and it's definitely worth every penny. First off, let's talk about the condition of this iconic ride. The seller describes it as being in good condition, and based on the details provided, I'd have to agree. With just 69,755 miles on the odometer, this Galaxy 500 has been well maintained over the years and still has plenty of life left in it. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's ready to roar. The seller mentions that it runs great, which is always a good sign. However, it's worth noting that the ad lists the car as having front-wheel drive, FWD, which is likely a mistake since the Galaxy 500 was known for its rear-wheel drive, RWD, setup. The exterior of this Galaxy 500 is finished in a sleek black paint job that looks absolutely stunning. There's just something about a classic car in black that exudes elegance and sophistication. As a convertible model, you'll be able to enjoy the wind in your hair and the sun on your face as you cruise down the road in style. Inside, you'll find a spacious interior that's perfect for weekend getaways or just cruising around town. The seller doesn't provide many details about the interior condition, but based on the overall description, it's safe to assume that it's in good shape as well. One thing to keep in mind is that while the seller describes the car as being in good condition, it's always a good idea to inspect it thoroughly before making a purchase. Look for any signs of rust, damage, or wear and tear that may need to be addressed. Overall, this 1969 Ford Galaxy 500 is a fantastic find for any classic car enthusiast. It's got a timeless style, a powerful engine, and a cool factor that's hard to beat. And at $14,000, it's priced fairly for a vehicle of this caliber.